things have taken another turn for the worse for the Boston Celtics. The latest comes from the Podfathers website, The Ringer. A writer I love, Kevin O'Connor, did a deep dive on what's going on with the Celtics, and this is one passage. Quote, sources around the team told me that Irving's persona has changed too. He's become disengaged and detached from those around the team. There is talk that Irving's friendship on the team, get it, start and end with Tatum, with whom he shares an agent. And there's more. Two sources peg Irving's change in demeanor to early February, around the time he was asked about the possibility of joining the New York Knicks next season. That's when Irving infamously said that he'd make the best decision for his family and that he didn't owe anybody bleep. Jalen, we've seen it in the press conferences. We've seen it on the court. It's not surprising to hear that the frustration that comes from this losing period for the Celtics has kind of bubbled into personal relationships. Is this just kind of what happens when you're on a losing team? You've been there before. Or is this Kyrie Irving disassociating himself with the Celtics franchise with his eyes on leaving this offseason?
I need the bat for this one.
Oh, the bat's coming out.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time for the bat to come out.
Yeah, because this is a loaded question, and there's a lot to unpack with this answer. So here's where NBA players, first and foremost, need to be careful. Presenting a persona that they're so very unhappy with their job and their opportunities. Because guess what? The fans of the game, they don't like that.
No.
The supporters of the game, they don't like that.
No.
You know what else? It also sends a bad message to people who want to be in your shoes one day.
Owner is also not a big fan.
Just so you know, all of the guys that are playing in the league, whatever one you want to talk about, Major League Baseball, football, soccer, whatever. If that's your passion, guess what you did your entire life? You begged for the opportunity to make it. You hope that you can make it to the league. And all of a sudden you make it to the league and people start to make it look like it's the worst thing that could have happened to them, that these people are talking to me about my job before and after practice. Those media scrums are only a couple of minutes. It's not like it's 24/7, 365. Now, I went there first because that's what now triggers reactions in the locker room when you talk about your young teammates don't know what it takes.
Yep.
And they tell themselves, wait a minute, we made it to the conference finals without him last year. What is he talking about?
We're actually better when you're off the floor sometimes, and we're not bad when you're not around.
And this is a real sample size. When they're 1-6 with you, and they're 1-6, they're 6-1 without you. Okay, so that says something. That's a real sample size. And so you have to be careful there. There were rumors that this happened with Kyrie in Cleveland, where he was upset at whatever dynamics were taking place, and he allegedly showed up at practice then and wasn't talking to teammates. So what's the common denominator here?
Kyrie Irving.
So that means if somebody has to grow and change how he relates to his teammates, it's probably gonna need to be him, not necessarily the other way around.
But don't you think that we are too focused on Kyrie Irving through all of this? Like, it does feel like the Celtics they're not failing. They're in the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, but they're doing it as a team, yet whenever we get in front of microphones, we talk about Kyrie and not the Celtics.
I've been really fortunate that, except later in my career when I was old and washed up, every team from high school to college, each time I played for an organization other than the Nuggets, I was elected captain. And usually, before the game, who goes to half court and talks to the refs?
Captain.
Okay, why do you think that is?
I don't know what. I think they talked to you about the rules or something. There's no real functional reason.
Ownership. That's the same thing that happens when you're the captain and or the best player. When something goes bad, they're gonna ask you what took place with your squad.
In the players only meeting, the captain is the person who stands up.
And when things go well, you get all of the accolades, right? But this dynamic was off. And I said it on this show when it was happening. Usually you don't have a team making it to the conference finals while another guy that's on the squad that's injured get a movie made about him that same summer.
Also, don't forget, he missed some games in the playoffs last year. Straight up didn't show up because he was rehabbing his knee or whatever. Like, you can't rehab your knee during the day?
Correct. And so these dynamics have now rolled over into this season, and that has forced the Celtics not to meet expectations. And I acknowledge it clearly isn't all on him, because if you look down at the stats, his numbers are there.
He's not playing that bad.
But it's a team game, and people clearly haven't accepted and bought into the roles that they now have on this year's squad.